Anyway, we got an email from Brian in Detroit.
Huh.
That's as close as he wants me to get to describing him, just for the sake of, I think he may have some legal ongoing issues. What?
Real quick, because this is the only time that it would be a natural transition. Dave Brzezinski just put up a video. I think it's on YouTube. It's a tribute to Brian Bucantis with lots of photos. So Brian from Detroit made me think of it. So I'm going to plug
Whoa, hold on here a second while we're... See, now with my lightning speed internet, and by the way, me there, oh blazing fast boy. 947 over 899 is what I have on my internet
is that,
today.
your blood pressure?
Hotchkiss is over here. No, that would mean I would be at like a fucking Ring of Honor taping or something. No, I'm talking about the internet speed in which that I'm these words are flying through the airwaves. Like Tom Snyder used to say on the Tomorrow Show, sit back and watch the pictures fly through the air.
And speaking of Detroit, hello to handsome Gary Kamensak and Gary Mancuso. And
yes, well, that's what I'm trying to do here. Now I was learning you about my blazing fast internet. You look at Dave. Well, everybody knows how to spell Dave Brzezinski, right?
Maybe look up Dave Drayson. Maybe Dave
no,
Drayson.
It's Dave. It's his YouTube. Dave Brzezinski, Burzynski. Blame his parents, folks, but he's got the Brian Bucantis RIP video up on his YouTube channel that I'm looking at right there. That for our old friend and compadre. Speaking of old time photographers and fans and things and such of that nature. But where was I going with this?
You had an email from Brian in Detroit.
Yes, Brian, because he's in Detroit at this current time. And he's updating us as an eyewitness on one of these Hulk Hogan beer store, baloney blowouts, whatever the fuck they're doing, where they rush this aging icon with artificial body parts in and out of vehicles to rush him from one beer store to the other across metropolitan areas where he disappoints people and tries to make others drunk. Have we established the premise of this yet?
I believe that premise is called Clearwater Beach. Yes.
Well, no, apparently
disappointment and drunks. Welcome to Clearwater.
You don't have to move in. See, he's bringing it to you. You don't have to be in Clearwater. He's bringing drunks and disappointments on the road across America. And he was in the Motor City, Detroit, baby. You better be jumpy. Get up. All right. He says, after saluting us, hi, Jim and Brian, I went to one of Hogan's beer events last year. Not because of his political views, but I grew up on him and I wanted to see. Here's how the event was run. This event was at a party store in a small town in the Metro Detroit area. So someplace, I guess, like a Hamtramck or a Sterling Heights or something of that nature.
How far outside of Detroit is Ann Arbor?
Oh, that's way on the other side of fucking the beer store. No, and it's not that. It's now, goddamn it, because you've stumped me. It's not that far, but it ain't that close either. But here's the thing. You know, when Steve Perry said born and raised in South Detroit, there is no South Detroit. The way it's laid out, South Detroit would be fucking Toledo. It'd have to be more of a West Detroit or a Northern Detroit type of thing. Or you could just be out in the middle of the fucking water. Which is where Brian is reporting in from after he got drunk at the Hogan beer store event. But anyway, event at a party store, small town, Metro Detroit area. You buy a case of the beer. God damn. Oh, and get your receipt, about $18 for 12 cans. So it's a 12-pack. Brian, you don't hang out with a lot of wrestlers if you think a 12-pack is a case. But 12 cans of this beer for $18. Brian, I don't drink beer. I haven't watched people purchase beer in years and years. Are you a beer person? How much does a beer cost these days if it doesn't come out of the fucking Detroit River?
I couldn't tell you. It's been a while, so I haven't.
Certainly it would, because a Sprite now. I can tell you a goddamn a 16-ounce Sprite in a bottle in your average convenience store is going to be what, $1.69, $1.89, somewhere around that point. So this beer is selling for about the fucking cost of a Sprite. For want of a price of beer and a slice, Hulk Hogan went bankrupt. So here's what happens. You buy a case of the beer and get your receipt, about $18 for 12 cans. You wait in line. You walk in, you get your picture taken with your phone and show your receipt to grab your signed case of beer on the way out of the store. So they apparently pre-signed the beer. And you walk up and stand in his immediate vicinity and somebody takes a picture with your phone and then you just get out of all right, you can leave now. They pat you on the back, put a white chalk mark on your shoulder and send you off. That's me editorializing. That's not Brian in Detroit. But he says, Brian does say his team was selling real American beer shirts and hats, $25 unsigned or $50 autographed, because Hogan would sign those but wouldn't sign other items. So as far as the scheduling we've talked about, why was he late or cutting people off or whatever? Brian says that this one, Hogan showed up about 45 minutes late and the quote unquote meet and greet started about 40 minutes after that. He had 5 other spots to appear at and was going to be late all day going forward just based on local traffic. 5, so at least 6. And if this was his first one in the same day, Brian says finally, his team for these are complete idiots and it was run poorly from the start. They did say they could get through about 200 people. I'm not sure if he left early as he arrived late. And once I saw him, I left. So there's an eyewitness from the road. Brian, don't you think you should take over that Hulk Hogan touring business? Sound like you have a better grasp on scheduling and items, very details of things.
I don't think I would want to be in business with that outfit. You have to deal with his son, Stooges. Jimmy Hart seems all right, but what the hell's he doing?
Well, you could get the beer for so cheap, though.
Yeah, I don't know. It's pre-signed. We're going to find out it's pre-drank. I haven't heard anyone say, that Hulk Hogan beer, despite what you think of him, it's a good beer. We haven't heard anyone say that.
There's nobody trying to fucking bootleg import it like Coors from another state.
If it was actually a good beer, you'd be hearing people like, you're not going to believe this shit. This Hulk Hogan beer is actually really fucking good. I got all fucked up. Nah, no one. No one is saying that.
No. They're saying that about the Woo energy drink. I got all fucked up.
Is that still around? We haven't heard anything about that in a while.
I think much like ICA-Pro, some of that probably is still around unless they had a landfill project in Stamford. I'm thinking that.
They announced a multi-year deal with AEW. And then after a certain point, we never saw that drink again and never heard Flair's name mentioned again.
But that doesn't, well, now, just because they're not advertising on AEW television doesn't mean that they're still not an ongoing business concern. They may be wooing in different venues and different platforms.
So The Rock's got tequila, and Flair's got an energy drink, and Hogan's got a beer.
Yeah.
Someone's got to do like a milk or juice.
McGregor's got the whiskey.
Oh, he's not a wrestler.
Well, but I mean, if you're talking in the genre, hey, maybe some of these other people aren't currently wrestlers either. You never know.
Cody's dressed like he may own a distillery 100 years ago. He's got some plans.
The fucking banker on the Monopoly, fucking. But where was that guy? I was going with something. You were saying milk. I'm thinking somebody needs to come to me. About our own version of the elixir of the gods, the Sprite. I'm sure we can,
our own version.
much like some songwriters or Hollywood types, we can make something confusingly similar while at the same time not violating any copyrights and infringe on somebody else's fucking profits at the expense of our own or whatever.
How similar is 7-Up to Sprite?
Oh, no. 7-Up has that aftertaste. It doesn't go down as smoothly or as refreshingly, and it has the aftertaste. Now, Sierra Mist from a restaurant, if it is a that type of building rather than with Coke products, it can work just so you can choke your food down. But no, if you want the true nectar of the gods, you have to go with the Sprite Zero. Now is the only way for me to go because I'm off the sugar. But whatever, if you want to walk on the wild side, kids, go ahead. Be Lou Reed. Go ahead and drink the actual fucking hard stuff and with the sugar in it. You'll regret it later in life. But if you're young,
be like Lou Reed.
But it's got to be the Sprite.
Candy came from out on the island, but she had sugar, so Jim ignored her.
She said, "Hey, kids, take a walk on the Sprite side."
When did you give up sugar? When did you go to Sprite Zero?
I sound like Lance now. 2000, I was in TNA, but probably later in the 2008-ish, I'm going to say.
Because I guess my question is, if you look back at like you in the 90s, like Smoky Mountain, when you were probably the most stressed because you were running everything and there was so much going on, you ate pretty badly by your own, I mean, well, you may like it, but
garbage.
But if you had just done the switch from Sprite at that time to Sprite Zero and got rid of the sugar, do you think it would have affected your weight?
Probably, I would say it would affect anybody's weight, depending on how big you are to begin with. You're not going to lose 15 pounds if you cut out sugar if you're, 5'2" and 114 pounds. But it definitely would have affected mine and anybody that cuts completely the sugared drinks for the diet drinks. But mine was driving back and forth to the TNA tapings. My legs were swelling like sausages. And cutting out the sugar made that fucking subside, believe it or not. So that's how I noticed that it was. But now, if I drink a fully sugared Sprite, it will make me thirsty. Because it will dry something about the real sugar now, or even a restaurant, when they don't have the Sprite Zero, and once again, got to choke down the food. But it'll make me thirsty if it's a real strong fountain Sprite with sugar, because there's something about not being used to drinking sugar and then that going on. I don't know.
Were you able to do it right away, or was it a tough thing to go from Sprite to Sprite Zero? You love it now, but obviously it must have been some sort of change.
Well, it's got to be ice cold. It's got, when you make the switch, the Zero has to be as cold as you can get it, cold as a witch's heart. Because otherwise you'll notice, and it will put you off at the start until you get used to it. You will notice the difference, and you'll notice it's a different taste at first, but then once you get used to it, it's the same fucking thing, but without the harmful sugar.